Hi guys, we're back with understanding the soundbox. So I'm gonna try to use this thing. Uh, and I'm gonna try to, I've actually got new antennas. That's Buddy. Because the bulldog went over there. I actually have new antennas for all these that DOGTRA sent me. I'm just not sure where they are. But what you need to think of is the majority of the time I'm using the pager. So when you're hearing that sound, and I'm glad, and I think it's easy to understand in that the louder the sound on this thing is, the better signal it's giving to the dog. That's what you need to think of. The stronger the signal it's giving to the dog. That's why the pager's so loud. That's why the pager's so loud. And when you put the nick on really, really low, it's very, very low. I mean, so, that wouldn't be, you would be able to communicate that way, but you would be doing it only for certain things, not for everything. So this, and I don't know why, this is numbered serial number 000, because it wasn't the first one, but it might have been one of the first gray ones. And let me show you Greg's sound box. And I want you guys to know, nobody would even be using a sound box if it wasn't for me. Because nobody knew what it was. The only reason I knew what it was there was an old Dobbs video from the 90s, and it was a seminar, and they were using, if this is a CB radio, that's what they were using. So you could hear, and they were only using, the constant back then. I just see Crash's little head bouncing up and down back there. Oh no, that's not Crash. Oh, that's the bulldog. Here's Crash right here. You said, well, how do you fix that? Here's an idea. Anyway, that's what I want you to think. I'm going to go out there and use this thing. I'm going to try to muffle it a little bit because that's the pager. And there's no volume, so I can't turn it down. And it just, when I used to upload with this thing all the time, then people would say, oh, they don't understand the pager enough to think that that's just, So there is an overt difference. The only one I would possibly, that's a giveaway. That's a giveaway because just looking, Jesus, that's my cousin is all the way across town. Her car won't start, which it's a brand new car. Ay, ay, ay. Good. But my cousin Kim finds this girl an apartment in Daytona because there's not a single apartment available in New Smyrna or Edgewater. Just like on Seinfeld, where there was not a house available in Tuscany. So upset with these people. Who takes a girl like that and sticks her all the way in Daytona? Those people. Furious. Anyway, you guys, so that's what I want you to think of. And Alice, as far as your dog that is jumping at the window, you've got to stop thinking of the collar as a correction. This is what I want you to think of. What would the opposite of the behavior be? So if the dog's clawing at the door, what would the opposite of that be? And the opposite of that would be running away. So that's why you can't use the collar to correct that behavior and try to make it go away. Because there has to be an alternative behavior. So if the opposite of lunging and going at the door, if the opposite of that is running away, the jumping at the door is the lesser of two evils. Oh my God. I'm trying to just throw distraction down. I'll tell you why they're doing it, because Crash put my clothes on the floor, so they're using that as a wrestle mat. Anyway, so I'm going to go out there right now, you guys, but that's what I want you to think of. You're always using the collar preemptively for the most part. You're not waiting until it's doing something and then using it. You can't, and I've got to, figure out a way to write that down. You need to get my ebook, Alice. And if you said, well, when could you use the collar, to stop one from lunging at the door or something? After it was heavily, heavily collar conditioned. After you could push that button and that thing would be Johnny on the spot right at your side. Until then, you're putting everything else at risk. You're putting every other behavior at risk. So that's what I want you guys to think of. If you were going to use the e-collar for punishment and we wanted it to stop doing something, it's got to do something else instead. And generally with dogs, it's going to be the exact opposite of what they're doing. So if it's lunging at the door and you're hitting it with the collar to try to stop it from doing that, it's going to run away. And then you're not going to be happy at all. It's going to run away. So you've got to just figure out a way to restructure that, and I want you to think of, if you said my clients that I'm training dogs with an e-collar are using the buttons right, I'd say, no, they're not. Oh, absolutely. There is no way. They're not doing it right at all. I used to think that too before I got my sound box. And then I figured out they weren't doing it right at all. So you do have to coach people. I mean, you do have to coach people. And if you said, what are they not doing? They're not holding it down long enough. Because in their mind, it's a detonator. In their mind, it's a detonator. So, and if you said, well, how quick can you let the page up? That's as fast as you can. And I think I can try it. Let me muffle this thing. I think it will shut itself off after 12 seconds. So let me just keep holding it down just so you can see how long that is. That was 12 seconds. It seemed like forever. And it might have went longer because I let it up in the middle, and you do need to think about that sometimes. You do need to think about that. And the constant is the same way. And I'm going to tell you, the constant used to be 8 seconds. That was the industry standard. And honestly, I think when Greg came around, they changed it to 12 seconds because Greg listens to anybody. And Greg's whole idea is make everything hotter. So if we can't make it hotter, make it longer. Is what they did. So I think, let me try this, but I think it'll shut off after 12 seconds too. So what you need to understand is if you're a dog trainer and it's taking you that long, you're awful. You are awful. You're awful. That seemed like forever. Generally, if I say I'm going to bump the constant, this is what it is. And if you said, how's that different from the nick? It's 3 times longer. So if you said, they want all this boost and everything, if I need a boost, that's what I do. Because that's the difference. There's the nick. This is me. That's as fast as I can let it. Even then, it's going. You can't let it up with just one. And you'd have to remember. I mean, that's in a high drive dog, going to be a very, very short time. All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta call my cousin back and find out if she can find somebody to give her a job. And, Jim, if you're watching this, please don't have that girl sign another lease for an apartment all the way up in Daytona where she doesn't even know anybody. If she was in New Smyrna, I could run over there and give her a job, but I can't run all the way to Daytona. Anyway, guys, I'll let you know what happens. I'll be right back.